Good evening, Ludivine.
Good evening, Jean-David.
Very happy to be here again.
Thank you.
In the Hospice Winery.
Yes.
8th of October, vinification have just ended.
Yes.
The idea is to talk with you about those vinifications of the 2019.
Yes.
Concentration, also as a keyword.
Yeah, so, it could be. It could be a sort of a summarize of the vintage.
So what can you tell us?
But by the way, it's sort of very difficult to summarize vintage because we have a very specific tendency for the maturation stage. All was really concentrated, both sugars but also acidity. So even if we have in mind that the vintage was very sunshining and very hot and dry, we of course have a lot of alcohol, but we also have a lot of acidity because the acidity was also concentrated into the fruits.
Okay.
So it's a sort of very Burgundian vintage by the end. That was a little bit unexpected, to be honest, but we're very happy with that today because it's really safe for keeping the wine at the end and also for the aging. We had to adapt our vinification methods to do so, to respect also what the nature gave, but it was a very interesting vintage to vinify.
Okay, so to start with the white wines.
Yes, with the Chardonnay, we pressed the Chardonnay a little bit for a longer time than we used to do. We also went a bit higher in terms of pressure, but the lees were very beautiful, very good in tasting. So we decided to ferment on lees at higher level than what we used to do usually. And so far we are now very confident because we think that all the buyers will have the potential for aging the wine to feed them, and also the acidity will be there, but also the density, the length will be able to play on thanks to the lees because they were very, very nice.
Okay, so in a way it's a concentrated vintage with a very long-term potential already.
Yeah, it sounds like something not that logical because usually we used to fear a little bit heaviness when we talk about high degree of alcohol. Yeah. But in fact, this year we have this very strange phenomena, and we have both density, concentration, but also freshness thanks to the acidity.
Okay.
And working with the lees, to me, in aging the wine will be, I would say, the key for great wines by the end.
So probably we can trust.
Yeah, but I mean,
Albert Bichot to be good on that.
I know they know how to do.
Good. And for red wines, in terms of vinification?
Yeah, for the reds, things were a bit different because we had to concentrate it first on the very first step of distilling. We had to be very careful not to make too much juice, to protect the berries, for the tannins and color to be extracted from the beginning of the maceration. So the skins were very rich in tannins, very soft, gentle, and extractable tannins. So we played on that to extract them on the first part of the maceration. So we made more pigeage than by the end. And we also had to be very careful because the seeds and the stems were not that ripe. If we would have waited for them to be ripe enough, maybe the degrees would have been too high. So it was a sort of compromise to find. But everything was inside thanks to the skins, so it was okay. And it was for the first days, it was so rich in flavors, in smelling, in tannins, in color. And you know, it was a sort of very reactive vintage. Like we made a pigeage and then straight away we had more color. We made a hot pumping over and then we had straight away more tannins. So it was really pleasant to work with this kind of vintage. And by the end, once the alcohol was starting to come out, we were very careful not to be too far in extraction because of the seeds and the stems, but we distilled all of them, but just in case. And we also fermented at lower temperature than what we used to do to protect the fruit and not to go on overripe aromas that could have
which was probably the risk.
Yeah, yes, the risk that we also had in 18. So we have now two following vintages, very nice, very different from each other between 18 and 19. But it's a very Burgundian one for me.
Okay, so that's very good news.
It's a very good news.
Maybe not the so good news is the total yield.
Yes, you're right. We are even lower than what we expected when we first started to harvest, when we just saw each other a few weeks ago. Of course, some place like Pomard for us, or Volnay, in different places of Volnay, it's not so bad. But in Corton or the Grand Cru of the Côte de Nuit, we are a bit more pessimistic because we expected a bit more. But it's so good, and it smells so good in the winery and in the cellar now that we are putting them into barrels. That, well, even with a low yield, we are happy.
We'll have to appreciate it.
Yeah,
at its right.
We keep smiling anyway.
I can see that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see each other very soon for the last stage in the cellar.
Yes, of course.
Thanks very much, Ludivine. Thanks.